The project that I chose to critique is the structure with the skin. I have the most to say about this piece, so I thought it would make a good choice. So this project seems to be entirely non-objective, it not resembling anything found in the real world. The materials that I can see that were used are paper, wooden dowels, and hot glue. They are all glued together to create this structure to begin with. The first thing I notice are the repeated shapes, triangles, and diamond shapes occasionally are halfway covered with the white paper. The colors are very natural, consisting of white, clear, and a light brown or tan color. The lines are created by the wooden dowels and paper, creating fully straight lines. There are not really any textures created other than it being smooth, most noticeably from the paper and the smooth wooden dowels, making the piece appear flat and smooth to the touch. The overall effect of this piece is repetitiveness. Repetitiveness could be both a good and bad thing, either making a piece seem more cohesive or it can make the piece look more flat and uninteresting. I think the repetitiveness makes an interesting shape, but something much more abstract could have made it a little more interesting to look at, rather than repeated shapes in a pattern. Although I think the repetitiveness could have been changed, I think the repeated shapes give a calming mood to the piece, since nothing is out of the ordinary or arbitrary. There are some of the elements of design that I think are present which bring the piece together, but there are some elements that could have been added which could have made it more interesting, but I'll touch on that later. There is definitely unity and harmony being used, since the structures of the shapes go well together. There is a balance, I think, especially with the diamond shapes being halfway or fully covered, making it seem equal balance from the position it's standing on. As I mentioned earlier, there is a repetitiveness and rhythm due to the repeated shapes and colors. The shape of the structure makes my eyes wander around like a circle, creating movement. However, there is no variety or contrast which I think has made it feel a little bland. Scale and proportion could have been used here as well, creating different sized shapes to provide more interest. From the appearance, I do not think there's any symbols going on in this piece, since I think it's non-objective. Because of this, I don't think there's a deeper meaning, like a social commentary or historical references. I think the piece is just meant to be the piece and nothing more. I think the artist was trying to create something non-representational, something that you don't need to find a meaning for. Furthermore, I don't think I can depict what the artist's worldview or perspective is to create something like this to begin with. I personally do not think that my perspective of the piece has changed from when I first saw it. From when I first viewed it, I considered these things before analyzing it deeper, so my view has stayed the same. I do not think that this piece has intrinsic value or worth, not because I think it's bad, but because it is very simple. I don't think it's a beautiful piece of artwork, or that it conveys an important social message, or that it affected how I see the world, religious belief, etc. I do think that the work communicates an idea that not everything you make has to have meaning or have to be perfect. It can simply just be, and that is fine the way it is.